Welcome to the WanderLearn podcast. I'm your host, Francis Tapon. In this episode, I have Sym Blanchard once again, and this time he's going to be turning the tables and interviewing me on my own podcast. And because Sym is a curious man, I don't know why the fuck he's curious about me, but anyway, go ahead, Sym. You're going to bombard me with questions, and let's.
Yeah, Francis. So tell us, what have you been doing the last several months?
Robbing banks.
Yes.
Terrorizing the population.
And my next question.
Exactly. Yes. And no, let's see. So in September 2021, I came into Dakar and Gambia. And so I basically did the reverse of my trip. So I originally entered Africa from Morocco.
I'm sorry. And why were you retracing your steps? What?
I had nothing better to do, dude. I've got it like I'm a loser. I have nothing to do with my life.
Housing's cheap.
Exactly. Speaking about cheap, so after Senegal, so I house sat in Senegal, a cat, for 2 months. I
cool.
stayed in Gambia for about 3 weeks, and then I was in Mauritania for 2 months. From February and March, I was there I left because Ramadan was starting, and Ramadan is fasting.
Yeah.
That's kind of a pain in the ass. In Mauritania, you'll never guess how much I spent on housing.
How much?
You don't know?
No.
Guess.
0? No.
It's paid housing, Sym.
Oh, okay. $500 a month?
Lower.
$300 a month?
Lower.
$200 a month?
Lower.
$100 a month?
Lower.
$50 a month?
$75.
Oh my gosh. That's what I paid in college.
Per month? Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what century was that? 1899?
1970.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, $75 a month. And it wasn't bad. I had air conditioning, for God's sakes.
Amazing.
It's a room. And then I had I had a kitchen in a separate area. It was kind of like a hostel that they had an auberge. And they had several rooms, but it was closed. I mean, nobody was there. There had no tourists in Chingati and in Mauritania.
Uh-huh.
And so I just gave them $75, and that was good enough.
Wow.
And they had cold water only, and so I would heat up the bucket and put the bucket in the sun. In Mauritania, the sun is pretty warm, so we would warm it up by the afternoon. I'd take a outdoor shower, and that was it. And comfortable, and talked to a lot of Mauritanians, learned a little bit of Arabic, and had a great time. Worked on my book.
You had enough electricity?
Yeah, the electricity
did you
was
have Wi-Fi?
I had through my phone Wi-Fi, so I could hotspot it.
Oh,
so,
nice.
And it's good.
And it was good.
It was like, I can't remember if it was 4G or 3G, but anyway, it's fast enough for my needs.
Now, it wasn't like $1.47 a night that we spent when we were hiking across Madagascar.
That's true.
It?
That's true. Yeah. So that
and
was
the
cool.
Wi-Fi wasn't probably as good a Wi-Fi
that's
as we
true.
had
That's
in
true.
Madagascar.
And my better deal was in Benin.
Oh, really?
Benin, I had 2-room unit. Guess how much I spent per month? This was in 2014, by the way.
$50 a month.
Less.
25.
Less.
10.
$10.
Oh my gosh, a month.
$10
Benin.
a month. It was 5,000 sefa, which was about $10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And it was a 2-room unit. I had a mosquito net and a bed, and I also had a table to work on. And there was a third room that I could use to piss in or to take a shower in. And to take a shit, you had to go to the outhouse.
Okay.
And to get water, you had to go to the well, which was just a few meters away, and it was easy to get the water.
Hey, $10 a month. You know.
I know. Who can complain about anything?
Yeah.
So there are deals to be had out there. Now, probably they're charging $20 a month now.
Yeah.
That's probably what they're charging. But anyway, and by the way, this is not in shithole USA. I mean, or whatever, Benin. It was a town of 25,000 people.
Wow.
It's not like I was in the Alps. People are probably imagining that I was out in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, from there I went to Morocco to celebrate Ramadan.
Yeah.
And Moroccans are a little bit more laid back about Ramadan, but of course they're strict. It's not like they close all the restaurants down. But you just buy food, and I stayed there for a couple months. Then I came here where we're currently doing this interview in Marbella, and took the same ferry.
Yeah.
To cross the Strait of Gibraltar to retrace my steps. And I liked it so much that I'm going to be going back.
Okay. Good.
So another 3 months in Morocco.
We just gave a fabulous presentation with under adverse circumstances, but it was amazing.
Yeah, I gave a presentation.
I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
it was a TBEX. TBEX is a travelers conference. And we're both here.
And thank you for inviting me. And
yeah, sure.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And so what are your plans now? Where are you going?
Going for 3 months in Morocco.
Okay.
I'll be there until September. And then Rejoice currently is on deployment in the Pacific and,
Yes.
and East Asia.
Guam, I think she was in.
She stopped in Hawaii. Then she went to Guam, spent about a week in Guam nearly. And then now she's on her way as I'm recording this in Vietnam. She's going to Vietnam. She'll be there
Okay.
for a week. And then she's going to go to Palau.
Oh,
All these
wow.
places I've never been to. The Solomon Islands.
Yeah.
She'll be going to Philippines. I've never been to Philippines either.
Yeah.
I've never been to Vietnam.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
I've never been to Guam. I mean, she's racking up all sorts of territories and countries I've never been to.
Yeah. 2028, right? When you
Ye-
plan to go?
What?
I thought that was part of your plan to go to East Asia.
Yeah, you're right. Right. Yeah,
20
the 2028, inshallah. And so, yeah, that's right. And so she's gonna, and then eventually she'll hit Hawaii, and then by the end of September, I think she should be motoring her way back to San Diego.
And you don't know yet if she's if they're helping the local population with their health care.
Oh yeah, they definitely are.
do.
Yeah, she's on a hospital ship. It's the biggest hospital ship in the world.
Wow.
It's called the USNS Mercy ship. It's has a huge red cross on it. It's like it's like a tank. I mean, it's like a container ship practically. It's huge, and they have 1,000 beds. Sorry,
Wow.
capacity.
Oh my gosh.
They have like 10 operating rooms or 9 operating rooms.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a beast.
Oh
It's
my
a beast. She took about 2 weeks to finally get her sea legs. She was nauseous. Even though it's
Oh,
so big,
wow.
you would think that it would be stable, but I guess there was enough rocking sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
That's a whole new experience for her, huh?
and she's making cookies.
Oh, is that right? Oh my gosh.
Normally they would assign her to do some medical stuff, but the Navy does whatever the Navy wants them
Yeah.
to do. So
Yeah.
they said, "Hey, make some cookies," and she's like, "Okay, yes, sir."
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
but she's enjoying it. It's a pleasure and honor to go to these remote places and all sorts of stuff and be paid for it.
Yeah.
Pretty good deal.
And be an American citizen now. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
she just got her U.S. passport.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So how's your mom doing?
She's doing all right. She's now 83 years old. She'll
83.
be, and she's got a problem with her sciatic nerve in her back.
Oh no.
But she got 2 injections, and the second one seems to have taken
Okay.
fairly well. She's under painkillers a lot,
Oh boy.
so that sucks. But
Oh boy.
But overall, her mind is relatively lucid, and she's relatively sharp and all that stuff. She's going to tell you that she's super sharp, but I think she's losing a little bit of it. But then again, so am I.
Yeah.
I can't remember your fucking name.
Me too.
Who are you?
I forgot.
Okay.
I don't know. and how about your brother? He's a
Psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist
Psychiatrist
in Chicago.
In Chicago, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't talk to my brother enough as much as I would like, unfortunately. But as far as I know, yeah, he's working his ass off being a psychiatrist. He just bought a apartment, which he's only somewhat happy about.
Ah,
And he bought it during COVID, and he kind of did it as a rush deal.
wow. Right downtown Chicago?
No, in the south side of Chicago.
South
It's kind of a sketchy neighborhood. But anyway, that's what he decided to do.
I love Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago's great, but not where he lives.
Okay.
I don't understand why him and his partner, they both make good income, why they don't buy a better place. But anyway, that's... actually, I do know why. His partner, who happens to be black, is concerned about the Chicago police.
Oh.
About, suffering... getting arrested for no good reason, getting harassed by the Chicago police. And Rejoice, who's also black, who's also been to Chicago. She just, doesn't buy into any of the stuff that the African Americans often talk about. Not all African Americans talk about it, but Rejoice is darker skinned than the average African American, and she doesn't see an ounce of racism among the United States, and she will go further and say she sees anti-racism in the sense. Well, what I mean by it is that they give her privilege. I mean, she got voted Sailor of the Month.
Yeah.
From the Navy. If the Navy is so racist or the society is so racist, they're never going to award that to some black immigrant.
Right.
For her, everything that she's seen is that whites are bending over backwards to kiss her ass and to make her feel comfortable and at home.
Yeah.
And she doesn't understand the hullabaloo that African Americans make.
The historical.
Right. And so, and
thing.
of course, African Americans will say, the problem is you're from Africa and you don't get our history. And she might say, yeah, I don't get your history, but I'm just looking at how it is to be black today.
Yeah.
I'm black. I can't change that. I walk around every day. And if there's rampant racism, I don't think a racist is going to say, oh, she's an African black, so we're going to be nice to her. And, oh, these are African Americans, so let's be cocksuckers to these people. No. I mean, if you're a racist, you don't care where that black skin comes from.
Right.
You're going to treat them all badly.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have any of this stuff. I've asked her many times, like, isn't there something that where you felt like, and she's met people that are not nice, but she doesn't jump to the conclusion that means that they're racist.
Right.
There's a lot of cocksuckers out there. A lot of people are assholes to you and me, right? And we're white men.
Right.
So everybody, and so sometimes I wonder, and this is again just speculation, that sometimes African Americans who get mistreated, they might be quick to sometimes jump to the conclusion that it's because of some racist reason where it may not be. And I feel for them because it's not obvious. Like when I'm traveling in Russia and somebody treats me badly, I don't know, is it because I'm an American or because they're just having a bad day?
Right.
And when I go travel to Africa and somebody treats me poorly in Africa, I don't know if it's because it's a racist Arab or a racist black person who doesn't like white people, or just, again, maybe I was having a bad day or whatever.
Exactly.
And so, but I don't jump to the conclusion, and you don't probably jump to the conclusion that people are racist against you, white man, or a sexist or whatever, that kind of stuff. And I think because it's so much in the African American culture that they have been historically so oppressed.
Exactly.
And it's a reality in their history that they're very vigilant and sensitive to any kind of mistreatment. So that's the disconnect, I think. And that's why we're having so many problems, I think.
Yeah. So how's your book on Africa?
It's about 20% done.
Oh,
I'm working on trying to finish it. It's really hard. I'm just finishing, probably this month I'll be finishing the Nigeria chapter, which has been the beast because it's the hardest chapter to write. Yeah. Because it's the most important country in Africa.
Yeah.
And I want to get it right. I've had to trim quite a bit of it. Anyway, I'm working on it. And once I get through Nigeria, it's going to be pretty much clean sailing for the next few chapters until I get to South Africa, which will be another high pressure chapter because a lot of people know South Africa. They have opinions about South Africa. It's a sensitive place with a lot of racism issues and stuff like that. To write about it's delicate, takes time. It's a complex place. Yeah. And that's going to slow me down a bit. And then I think that's probably the next big hurdle. And the rest of it should be relatively straightforward.
Wow. And I heard you were updating your Hike Your Own Hike in Hidden Europe.
I'll be doing the Hike Your Own Hike a little bit. And then Hidden Europe, I did update it. But then this whole fucking war in Ukraine broke out. So now I have to update it again. But I did say a funny line in the book. I said, there will not be a war. I wrote this 10 years ago. I said, there will not be a war between Ukraine and Russia unless somebody in the Kremlin drinks too much vodka.
There you go. That's
so now you know what Putin was drinking.
Yeah. Putin on the Ritz. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Check my notes here. And you've got a wonderful lifestyle, and I admire it, and I try to emulate the things that I feel work for me. What do you think is inspiring you most to do what you're doing now?
I mean, I'm kind of hedonistic in the sense that I just pursue my pleasure in that sense. So that what inspires me. It's just like it feels good to travel, and it feels good to talk to people. I like to write, and I enjoy doing podcasts and videos. I just kind of pursue that. So that's what inspires me. I mean, it feels great when people like my content. Great. That's a pat on the back. But yeah, that's what inspires me.
So curiosity, you love to explore
these
places?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, curiosity. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've always had that, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Getting out and seeing that. And connection. Do you feel like you're connecting?
Yeah, you had a list of it. Read it.
I do. Okay.
You read it.
Yeah. Read it. Learning. I mean, your thing is WanderLearn.
Yeah.
Growing. bragging rights. I mean, you
growing. Yeah, I guess growing. Yeah, and bragging rights. Yeah, absolutely.
You're Mont Blanc. Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, bragging rights. I'm a narcissist. I'm a professional narcissist. Actually,
yeah, that's right.
So I gotta brag.
Yeah, your Continental Divide yo-yo is amazing.
Yeah. It's just like,
Okay.
I hate it when people's like, no, I'm not trying to brag. Of course you are. Come on, shut up.
Yeah,
Especially if you're on social media, and everybody is practically.
Yeah, and you only want to show a certain side.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, of course it's fun. I'm hedonistic, I told you.
Yeah, freedom.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you are free.
I'm super free. I'm about as free as can be.
Yeah, me too. I love it. Innovation. Do you feel innovative, creative when you plan your adventures and where you go and, go, okay, well, I'm going to go to Marbella and now I'm going to go to Morocco or I don't know.
I don't know if innovation's the right word.
Okay.
But I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, there's a certain amount of innovation that I just make shit up as I go along. But I don't know if there's much credit. To me, innovation is somebody who's inventing something unique or at least innovative.
Well, your lifestyle or what your life is going. I
don't know. I don't know how much credit I would give myself for that.
Okay. And what about adventure?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
And nonconformity. Do you feel like...
I think there's a side of me that just like tries to do things just to go against the grain. Yeah. But I don't know if that's my prime motivating factor. Is like, let me just do the opposite of what everybody else is doing. I just happen to do what I love, and sometimes that's countercultural. Right. But I don't know if I do it just because that would be stupid. If like I do something that's against the grain, but I don't really want to do it. I'm just doing it to like be against the grain. Like
right, yeah, I don't see that. Yeah,
like I really want to marry, but I'm just not going to marry because that's countercultural. Right,
right. Yeah,
I really want children, but I'm not going to have children just to like be different than everybody else. That's stupid. If I really want children, I'm going to have fucking children.
Yeah. Well, one conventional aspiration you had was your Harvard MBA, and you got that. Yeah. But you did it with a religion degree. Yeah. So that's a little bit.
But again, it wasn't. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. Cultural experiences.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, that's actually one of the big joys I have for traveling is the fact that I love to learn about cultures and learn about the differences and learn about how women are treated in different countries, how children are treated, how men act and how they treat their grandparents and how they raise each other and what the food is like and what's the music like and what do they eat and how do they cook and what time do they go to bed and, what's the nightlife like and, all these things, everything about culture. It's just fascinating to me. And that's just I find it interesting because there's so many things we have in common, so many things we have different. And just understanding all those differences but actually explaining it and spelling it out. Because a lot of times people will say things like, Africans are so diverse. Yes, we know that, but what the fuck does that mean? Mm-hmm. How does that translate to? Are Kenyans smarter than Tanzanians? You can't say that because it's like all of a sudden that's politically incorrect. But guess what? Some Africans are smarter than others. Some have better, and some are better athletics or some are better at singing or whatever. I mean, singing is kind of subjective, but you get my point is that some are taller, some are fatter, some are whatever. I mean, there are differences and I like to actually spell it out. But too often people just say they're different and there's diversity, but they don't actually go in and they don't talk about all the similarities because there's a ton of similarities. And people will say, there's similarities between Homo sapiens. And we all love to do that. Like, we're all at the base, we're all the same. Okay, great. What does that mean? And can we get a little bit more categorization there? Because saying it for all Homo sapiens, to jump from that to another, I don't know. It's just not interesting enough. I want to know, like, are continents different from each other? Or regions different from each other? Countries different from each other? And what they're similar.
I wonder if you, coming from a multicultural family, your mom's from Chile and your dad's from France, and your wife is from Africa. It seems like that instills in you that love of understanding cultures
it's definitely in my DNA and in my upbringing. It's just natural.
Something to be treasured. What are some of the most memorable, beautiful, meaningful places that you've visited?
You and I had great adventures in the Drakensberg Traverse, for example, in South Africa.
One of my highlights.
Yeah. I loved walking across Madagascar with you. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was
the Continental Divide Trail was incredible.
Oh, man.
There's I love Namibia a lot.
Yeah.
And I liked
yeah.
Mauritius. You and I went to Mauritius.
Yeah,
together.
Yeah.
That was one of the
with
best.
Scott.
That is of course. That I would say is the best country in Africa.
Wasn't it?
Period.
Yeah.
It's
Most
the best country.
developed,
If I had to live, it's not the most developed, but it's one of the most developed.
Yeah, it is.
Seychelles is better.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Seychelles is
Okay.
more developed.
Okay. Not the Camino, though. That wasn't one of your highlights. Camino de Santiago.
Oh, no, it's not one of my highlights. No. But
You
I
wrote
still,
a famous article about
yeah.
that.
It's got like 3 million hits. Of like,
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Top 10 reasons why the El Camino del Santiago sucks.
Cool. So what is your... okay, and you mentioned your plans. I think you were going to do Islam in 2024.
Yeah, so I call it the Into Islam Tour, which is basically going into the Middle East, including Central Asia. And most of those countries are Islamic. I realize Islam goes into North Africa as well, but I'm going to be focusing on about 25 countries, all the stans, as well as all the Middle East.
And we talked a little bit about my budget things and a little bit about yours, but can you go more into when you go to the stans and to the Islam countries, are you going to, what are some of your budget saving tips? I mean, you're doing house sitting, you're looking for cheap places to stay. Do you do couch surfing or?
Yeah, so I can put a link in the description where you can get 25% off on the subscription to trustedhousesitters.com, which is what I use to house sit. And you always have to take care of an animal, usually, or multiple animals in some cases. But it's cool. You get free housing.
Wow.
And so that's nice. And sometimes even a car they include. In certain cases, they'll throw in a car. But then, of course, it ties you down because you usually have to, be there every night. And sometimes, you can't leave for more than 8 hours because the dog has to pee.
Yeah.
But overall, it's a great way to kind of hang out a place. But there's not that many opportunities in the Middle East and the stans. In Dubai, you'll find some house sits for sure.
Okay.
There are definitely, but those are mainly expats who live there who, have a cat in their high-rise apartment in Dubai, and they need somebody to stay there for a few weeks or something like that. And so I'll use it there, but for the most part, Middle East is not. Also, the Middle East is probably not that terribly expensive, so you can probably stay at hotels. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time in the Middle East, frankly. I mean, maybe I'm going to be wrong, but I don't really like societies that segregate themselves by gender.
Right.
And so I kind of like the mingling of the sexes and just meet, and not feel like, okay, I'm just hanging out with dudes all day long.
You'll probably spend some time in Israel then.
Yeah, sure. Israel and I think Lebanon is kind of pretty mixed.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of places. Jordan is probably mixed. I don't know. But, and I think a lot of the stans, I imagine, are relatively mixed. I think Tajikistan and Turkmenistan, probably relatively mixed, but what do I know?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the point. And probably Iran, especially in Tehran, there's probably a little bit of mixing, I suppose. I have no idea. I mean, that's the whole point of going there.
Now, you seem to be very healthy and fit. What nutrition and exercise and sleep and what tips do you have when you're traveling and you have your the lifestyle you lead? What things do you make sure you do to keep in the best shape you can?
So I have a watch and I track my steps and try to do 10,000 steps a day. And that's pretty easy most of the time if you're out and about. If you're not, then I go for, if I'm kind of staying put for a few days or weeks, then I will run every day for about 30 to 60 minutes. And
wow.
I love podcasts because before 30 minutes was a drag to run because I was like, oh God, I got to run. And you're just sitting there doing nothing. But now, since I can listen to podcasts, I can run for 60 minutes. It's like, what a pleasure. You almost like look forward to getting stuck in a traffic jam because you're like, hey, I can listen to more podcasts.
That's right.
Oh, I got to wait in a line? Wonderful. I get to listen to those podcasts I got to catch up on. So it's actually kind of fun. Podcasts have really transformed it. Or even just washing dishes, doing chores, sweeping the floor. All these things have which were before real chores that nobody looked forward to. I actually kind of look forward to them in a perverse way